Adversity? Bring it. The struggle? We welcome it. Snooze on life? Never that. We are Dave Regina and Mike Pirelli, and this is the No Snooze Podcast. Come on.
Welcome back, No Snooze Podcast, episode 120. I'm in the booth with the big three. Michael, the show Pirelli, Claudio, the voice Valenzuela, and I am Dave, the body, Regina. Today, we're going to be talking about the process of commitment and how to actually commit to a certain goal that you may have. But before we do that, we like to always give a little update on what's going on. Michael Pirelli has some big news. I think we should start right with that before we talk about a little pod bod update.
Yeah, for sure.
Talk to me, baby.
I couldn't talk about it. I alluded to it in a couple episodes, but I've officially announced that I'm going off on my own. I have an LLC already, but I've been an associate broker. But now I'll be going off under my own office. Going to be a one-man show with support, and it's going to be... It's tough timing. Market's changing, but you could argue this is an ideal time. But with the two young ones and the end of the year coming up, not ideal, but some things happened with my company where we had an opportunity to part ways on good terms and came to some agreements, and it made sense. So, I couldn't talk about it. And I was in meetings for weeks. Yeah. And it was very back to when you were dealing with the interviews and, the back and forth, and just the amount of time and bandwidth to think through everything. And something I want to talk about is that I've explored this option in the past, but not to the degree that I did, obviously, because now I'm official. But I talked with Dana this time around, and because of all the previous things that I've done that have proven that I can do this, and basically her understanding the business more and her being more involved after, now 8 to 9 years, whatever it's been, she was so much more like, yeah, absolutely. Why not? It makes so much sense. Versus in the past, she's like, are you sure? So it was an interesting dynamic. And obviously you have to have the family on board. And, I asked Livy, she was gung-ho. She was like, absolutely, daddy. So, it was a fun thing to do. I released that video yesterday, which, I have to shout out No Snooze Podcast because I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the boys. But it just didn't work as far as the video. So hopefully you understand that. And the response was overwhelming. I was like, holy shit. There's a lot of people that
are happy for you, right?
That were happy, just reached out, agents that I've dealt with once. And I'm like, oh, they seem like good people, but they actually called and were like, hey, congrats.
Hey, can I work for you?
I had a couple of those calls, and I'm like, listen, liability, which is true. I told my insurance guy, because I had to get all my own insurances. I'm like, the goal is to basically survive a year. So however you want to make me bulletproof for the year, I'll overpay to make sure that I can get my stuff organized. Yep.
That's a smart move.
And then my clients were awesome. I mean, the people that I have, that they have the option now to go with someone else, stick with my previous firm, and they, with no hesitation, were like, no, ride or die with you, Mike. And I'm like, all right, let's ride. Beautiful. So that's been a lot of time and attention. And I'm happy now to say it publicly because now I can do a lot of fun things, and we're introducing, it's not new because it's just going to be something that I do anyway, but this whole concept of Not Another Real Estate Show, which is going to be a docu-style of my day-to-day, because I've gotten so many questions on how are you building it out? What are you doing? What's your next step? When you do the food show, when do you record No Snooze? So there'll be me with a kind of handheld gimbal more often in here, at meetings. People are going to basically get used to it, me having another appendage, basically. Point being, though, all of this has forced me, because now instead of waking up at 4 to go work out and get my day started, now it's waking up at 5, 6, whatever it is, and just surviving with the two and Dana, scrambling. So now I have probably 20% less time than I did. And now I have to do, probably 20% more work to get this thing off the ground. But when I thought about it, I said, it's now or never. Burn the boats. We're going to take a swing. Mm-hmm. If we strike out, we strike out, but I'm swinging for the fences.
I love it. No, congratulations, man. I think, if you remember, I mean, I know CV and I remember, but you've been talking about this for well over a year. Just in terms of the ambitious approach, right, that you had to want to go on your own. You didn't necessarily have everything in play, but I think over time you manifested it, and then also you were taking the actions necessary. And I think it just makes sense because you've done a tremendous job at building your relationships, building your network as a whole. It's a beautiful thing to see. I also love that people are supportive of it, because you always get the people in the corner that are like, oh yeah, I didn't think he could do it, or you know what I mean? So it's always good to...
Well, I haven't done anything yet, so people are excited for me now. But so I had to talk with my team, the real estate stuff, and I'm like, listen, now it's coming down to we got to sell more houses. Like this year is all about making the money. Mm-hmm. Like all the past has been, all right, we're gonna figure out the strategy and the process is this and that. And now we're at a point where I'm like, now my bottleneck is listings.
Yep.
So we're gonna attack every condo in town, and I'm gonna try to become the number one agent selling condos as the first goal. Because that's a little more scalable for me.
Yep.
And I'm taking a little more of a hands-on approach. So that, I'm hopefully going to report at the end of next year, 2023, that we've done that, which is going to be, I mean, it's a tall task,
yep.
But we'll see if we can go take it down. So I'm trying to adopt some stuff you talk about and kind of focus on one. It's not a specific, it's pretty specific, but a bigger goal, but just kind of nail one down.
Yep. Just hammer it home.
I'm not going to not sell other stuff.
Of course.
But the proactiveness and the marketing is all going to be geared towards that.
Right. Beautiful, man. I'm excited. And it's I think it plays well with the terms of just no snooze in general, right? And what it actually means to us. So anytime the three of us specifically accomplish something like that, it's a win for everybody. So.
Absolutely. And it's I've had these talks prior, and I've always thought like I've been holding back a little bit because I didn't have 100% autonomy.
Yep.
And, I always had the company that they never just, discouraged me from doing things. But now it's like, it's you, now it's like sink or swim. There's no scapegoat. Okay. I try to operate that way, but the reality of it is pretty overwhelming right off the bat, where you're like, oh, I don't call them anymore. It's like, if I want to do a listing, I just literally agree with this person. Yep. There's no checks and balance. It's you. So someone asked me, how you feeling after the announcement? I'm like, I feel a little lighter, like a little quicker now. I don't know what the reasoning is. Like I have so much more to do, but the freeness of I can do it however I want and there's no rules. I mean, there's rules with the state. Don't sue me. But you know what I mean?
Yeah, man. No, beautiful. Go ahead.
That links in though. But because I've taken all this on, I've been forced to kind of, my routine is shot anyway, but it's the things that I am holding on to, the habits, I've been forced to rework them because I have even less time now. Mm-hmm. So I've been stress testing everything, got into a beautiful routine. Now we got whacked with 2, starting a new company. And all of a sudden I'm like, all right, I can't do this anymore. I want to keep the habit. So that'll lead into the pod whenever you're ready to rock Beautiful. On that.
Well, honestly, I mean, I didn't really have an update besides
still strong
apple picking season, right? So
I saw that.
When it is apple picking season, one thing about Dave Reg is he loves everything apple. He loves apple pie. He loves apple crumb cake. He likes apples in general. I actually eat them like eggs, one bite, core and all. No, I'm joking. Just joking on that.
Can you imagine if you got to do one?
I'm scarred for life. When I used to eat apples, my mom would tell me that if I swallowed a seed like a watermelon, then it would start growing in my stomach. Yeah. So I still believe that to this day. But anyway, the amount of apple pies I've been crushing, pumpkin pie season, there's nothing better than fall foliage in New York, right?
I'm a pumpkin pie guy.
It's
pumpkin
delicious.
Everything.
I mean, it's absolutely delicious. But then today, I said, you know what? Let me go check in on my body fat percentage just because I've been really crushing the pies. Your boy came in at 9.1%.
So I got to check this weight thing. If I look at a pumpkin pie, I jump to 20%.
But I think, I swear, I think it just comes down to like the consistency of, actually look at me, look at the camera, CB. There you go. I keep catching him off guard. I know. Well, I'm just looking at you.
In.
Yeah, if you're on YouTube, CB's behind the camera and he switches every time we speak. So that's what I was referring to right there. But, it's the consistency of what I do. And I do go pretty hard, and for the majority of my week, I mean, it's probably well over 80%. being in the good. You know what I mean? I think it's probably closer to 90.
And when we talk about pies, crushing pies, right? Like, give me the stat line. Like, how many slices of pie? Whole pie?
just the other day we went to Harvest Moon.
Looked nice.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Oh, Harvest. That's a dinner place.
Yeah.
I think meant the place where you pick the apples.
That's Harvest Moon Orchard. Yeah.
Oh, there's I think
Harvest on the Hudson. You're probably thinking about.
Place is expensive.
My God, super expensive.
Dana took me there. Took me there, and I got sad. I was like, "Holy hell, what is this?" Anyway, go ahead.
So yeah, I mean, we went there on I think it was a Sunday. Was it Sunday? Yeah, because we were off Monday, right? And then bought 2 pumpkin pies, 1 pumpkin, 1 apple, and the pumpkin was gone in 2 days, and that was just me.
Pumpkin's light though.
I know that's how I feel.
Light. It's light.
So yeah, I mean, I was having 3 slices in 2 days, but 3 slices was half the pie. And it was simple, really simple. But now, I mean, even at work, we got people that are bringing pies. The front desk wants to bring pies. One of the patrons brought me a pie. People like that. I mean, people know that I like pies. So it's kind of a thing.
Big pie guy.
Big pie guy.
I had a blueberry pie at Louis, that Italian restaurant that I was posting.
It could be a little tart at times.
It was so good because a nice coffee. They had threw a little a la mode on there, a little vanilla.
CV was crushing scones, blueberry scones the other day. I saw that.
Was he pleasant?
Yeah, he's just crushing scones.
I do like pastry. I have to say, like any type of like pastry.
Yep.
Any type of dessert. I'm not a candy guy.
Starbucks.
Starbies.
Let me talk to you real quick. Listen, I love you. You're my favorite company in the world. Best coffee ever. Lexus usually hooks it up with the freebie. But so today, I was on time. There was no traffic. I leave, well over an hour of space to get to Stanford. Cruising right along. Get to the parking lot here in Stanford. It's about 9:16, 9:17 when I walk in. I'm like, perfect time, right? I go to the desk, to the front counter, and I order my coffee versus ordering ahead. I should have done that just off of convenience, but I was like, you know what? I want to be a good driving citizen. I don't want to text while I'm driving. So you know what? I have time. Let me get there. So I asked them for a grande black coffee with 1 Splenda. This chick, I guess when you order a black coffee, you also have to say no classic syrup. So now I have syrup in my coffee with 1 Splenda. But isn't that weird? Syrup? If I say black, syrup? So if you ask for an iced coffee at Starbucks, they automatically pump a certain number of pumps into your iced coffee.
What's the flavor, though?
I don't know. It's just like, it's called
Starbucks
classic.
Flavor?
Yeah, classic. Right? But like my assumption when I tell you that I want a black coffee,
nothing in it.
1 Splenda, it's black with 1 Splenda.
Yeah,
right? Would you agree with that?
I challenge that woman.
Right?
I challenge that woman.
And like, I don't know. I'm disappointed. And now it's like super sweet. Now I'm bouncing off the walls. I had pre-workout. I know. I'm fired up, man. I don't even know what to do here.
I haven't seen him this wired in a while.
I'm bugging out. I had good sleep last night too for the first time, and not getting kicked by Callie in the face.
I don't know how you do it. I really don't.
I don't know. All right, guys. Good episode.
Crazy thing. All right, see you later.
See you later. Until next time, guys.
You're putting on a show. You're doing all this in N9. That's the goal.
9-1.
I'm still pretty lean.
9-1.
I mean, Ambrosio posted, right? So my guy AC, I had to repost. I don't like really posting the naked stuff on the family-friendly Mike Pirelli Grants Real Estate account. But I was like, you know what? My guy hooked it up. He worked his ass off. I got to show some love. People thought it was literally that day. So they're like, you're looking incredible. And I had people texting me and asking like what I've been doing. So I still can see a little hint of the 6-pack. I haven't really been able to work out well more than twice a week, if that. I've been keeping up a little bit of the running.
Time to make a bet, CV.
For me, it's tough with the.
Well, you get incentivized by money though, so
I do. If you put money on, I'm gonna win.
Course.
But point being is like the diet's actually been pretty dialed in. Obviously, when we go out to dinner, I'm not just sipping on black coffee, which was crazy. But like I've completely adjusted the approach as far as narrowing it down, making it again super simple. Right. I literally am taking 1 like sugar-free marinade, 1 meat.
I call it marinade.
1 meat, and I'm using the crock pot for my protein.
What do you mean 1 meat? What does that mean?
So like a pork shoulder.
You have marinade and 1 meat?
Type of meat. So like pork shoulder, chuck steak,
thigh guy, big
chicken thighs. So I cook to those 3 each day.
Yep.
But it's 8 hours low and slow, right? You don't have to worry about overcooking it. You don't have to worry about being chewy. You literally throw it in, forget it, right? Mm-hmm. So I've been doing that. I've been staying on my rice cooker, which is amazing. So I'll make just white, or I'll throw in turmeric.
Mhm.
Is that the yellow stuff?
Yeah.
And
I'm
it
not too
makes it
familiar
yellow.
with that, but-
So I have like a yellow and a white rice, but it's both all
Why don't
white
you just
rice.
do minute rice? I don't understand.
Because it is way cheaper. So
In the cups?
my
Or they are a little
my
expensive.
cost now of my diet has dropped so much because I'm not getting fancy, and the time it takes to do this stuff because I'm just hitting it with one thing, and I'm not doing all the 50 things. What are those called? Spices,
Seasonings?
so little rice, little potatoes, and that's it. The thing that takes me the longest is cutting the potatoes. So I'm gonna get a fry thing.
Oh, okay.
So then it'll be super quick, and that's been cake. That's been the easiest thing I've ever done.
Beautiful.
The crock pot, I'm like, between the Mikey appliances, crock pot, and the dual air fryer, because my air fryer died. Shout out to the original.
Yeah.
I have a dual one, so you can do two at once.
Yeah. So talk about appliances. I told you guys, I think last episode or the episode before, I got an 18-month Home Depot warranty, right? On my appliances are pretty dope.
You got
right?
nice
I got the
appliances.
nice lean one, the
You're
skinny
nice.
microwave.
I don't know how to use microwave. I've been there a million times.
Well, so listen, I know that's the thing. It looks like
it's like
very
a future thing where
futuristic.
like, where's the button?
Yeah. So my stove works, right? But on like month 20 of us being there, the oven goes. So I've been without an oven for 8 months now, just out of principle, because
Don't
I'm like,
need it.
I could just grill everything.
Yep.
But it was kind of a problem when it comes to apple pies, because now I got to use people's houses to
Heat up apple pies.
No, just to make apple
Throw
pies.
it in the grill, dude.
I just grill apple pie.
Yeah, you can
Can you do that?
100%.
Can you
Bake
do
it.
that?
You just got to
Yeah.
keep the temp.
I mean, I'm a grill king. I
mean, it's
grill a steak every day. Every day.
I see it.
You
It
know?
looks good.
But yeah, man. I mean, you look good. CV, what are you looking like?
It looks amazing, Steven.
No update here. Looking good.
All right, listen. That's
Yeah,
the
what
last.
kind of-
that
what
we're
kind
gonna
of
let you.
challenge can we do?
We're gonna let you scapegoat on this one.
I haven't. I mean, I'm still on the. I'm still doing the right thing. The only bad thing is that every now and then my cheats are a little bit. They kind of fall over, especially when we have 3-day weekends or holidays.
Oh, great.
But other than that,
So Mike stopped working out.
No,
Claudio is
I'm still
now
doing.
cheating.
I'm holding the line.
At least Mike opened a company, so now I guess I'll be the only.
I did lose a pound since last time.
Okay, all right. Good update.
That's pretty good.
Good update.
Listen, I did my weight loss challenge, guys. But
1 per year and out.
1 per year. Dana, I can't do it
I
today.
can't do it.
I really can't do that today and again. Yeah, I've been stretching more. That's been good.
Okay. All
My
right.
lower back kills me. I don't lose my breath when I run. My back gives out before my breath. So that's
You
like
gotta strengthen the lower back.
yeah, I got to figure it out. So I do the
Spine work.
RDLs,
Romanian deadlifts, if you will.
the window washers.
You know
What are
what
they
RDL
called?
stand for? Window washers.
So what are they called?
What is
Where you
that?
lean over, you have it on your shoulders.
Window washers.
They're not window washers. It cleans. I forget. I gotta look at my app. Let me look.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking
You know
about.
what I'm talking about? When
Yeah.
you lean out
But
forward
now you just screwed me up with
because
the
I
name.
threw out window washers.
Yeah, I don't even know what that means. I know, that's what I'm thinking. Like,
It's
I
tell you
know
one
what you're talking about. When the barbell is across your back. Good mornings, they're
Good
called.
mornings.
And my man said window washers. I'm like, what is that?
RDLs are nice.
Yes. All right. So I have a funny business story I got to tell you guys about.
Okay.
Very funny. So the other day we had a scheduled meeting with a member of the Rockefeller family, right? And this member of the Rockefeller family, I think you remember.
Jay-Z, which one?
No.
I know.
The actual Rockefellers, right? The Rockefeller estate.
Pretty good, right?
That was pretty good. He has been a major contributor to what we do, just on a town level. And he actually heads up philanthropy, which makes sense because he's of the Rockefeller family. So he has access to a lot of funding and a lot of people who bring some heavy funding. So with him, super comfortable. He's hanging in my office. We're talking, chopping it up, catching up. He always likes to touch my biceps for whatever reason. And he just says, every time I see you, you get a little stronger. I'm like, yeah, I wish my wallet was as strong as yours. We make jokes back and
There
forth,
you go.
you know?
Do you touch his wallet?
right. Every time I just poke the wallet. So we were scheduled for this meeting, right?
Is it weird that people just come up to you and like grab your arm? Because I think about it. I've done that to you a lot. Like
yes.
I don't even say a lot. I just come up and squeeze it.
So the one thing that I do find weird, I'll take you guys off. Tangent.
Sorry, that's my fault.
It's fine. But you'll know this because you go out with me outside of work.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, a lot of guys, they come up to me and they either talk about my beard, They'll touch my arm randomly. And it just in my head, I appreciate it. But like, I would never go up to a random dude. I don't care how nice his beard is. And like,
Dave,
touch his beard?
Dave,
would I do that?
100%.
100%? Really?
You do. Yes. You've struck up conversations with random dudes all the time.
Talking to dudes is different, but like going to touch somebody's arm that's a little weird to me. I don't know. But anyway, we were apple picking and like 5 people came up to me and literally my boy Cheo, he goes, "This is ridiculous." He's like, "Why are all these dudes coming up to you?" And they're with their wives and stuff. They're not like, just gay men.
Yeah.
But which is no, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, he's saying.
It's just like all walks of men that are like just doing it, and I appreciate it, but it's just odd.
There's a comedian he's UFC guy turned comedian, Ben Schwab.
Yes,
and he dresses well, but he's a big dude.
Yeah.
So you remind me of him when you dress well.
Like the skinnies?
Yeah. Like you do the skinnies, the cut in the jeans.
Yeah.
So people just see you and you're probably so like striking that they're like, I gotta go touch this guy.
I appreciate it. So yeah, so he's in my office and we're talking, and this was on my calendar, so I was prepared for this meeting. What I was not really prepared for was the amount of funders that he was bringing in and the lack of knowledge that then I felt against the people that were coming. So we step out of my office, we go into the room, and there's literally 20. No, into this. The room.
Your terminology is throwing me off.
Gotcha. No, we step into the room into our meeting room, and there were literally 20 of New York State's biggest funders that I've never met before.
Is that the right word? Funders?
Yeah, they're funders. So they have
sounds fake.
What?
It sounds like the wrong word.
No, they have foundations, right? And their foundations fund certain initiatives.
Got it.
So they literally call themselves funders, right? Because they fund initiatives on behalf of whatever it is that foundation wants to fund.
Yeah.
And a lot of stories behind these foundations is great. But typically what happened, like there was this one foundation that was there that was actually in the early 1900s. It was a safe house for unwed women. Right. So like they had this huge mansion estate, and it was specifically for women who were unwed. Right. The Playboy Mansion, he said.
Rebranded.
Right.
Yeah.
So then that obviously doesn't hold any weight anymore. So that estate got sold. All of that money was created into a foundation to now benefit like women. Right. So it's like old stuff that typically people inherit money, they'll start a foundation, and then they fund initiatives that they want to fund, right? So that's where the term like funders come from. But it's people with big money that, want to help other things. So one, I feel really unprepared. I know, obviously my commissioner's in there. I had a coworker of mine in there. I know, the guy from Rockefeller family, and there was one board member. The board member I'm extremely close with, talk to her all the time, right? First name basis, texting the phone, really good lady. She goes to the introductions and she introduces everybody and just says, "Listen, I want to thank, the staff here. They do such an incredible job," mentions my commissioner, looks at me, and I could tell just blank, goes completely blank and forgets my name and like starts like stumbling and like fumbling along. And I'm like, David, right? And I was so embarrassed because it made me feel like
you weren't involved.
Like I wasn't important. You know what I mean? Like you didn't know kind of what I did. And I know you do, and I know you very well, but I was embarrassed of what I guess the other people kind of thought about the situation.
By the way, imagine her.
Oh yeah.
Oh well, that was the thing.
That was probably
so she felt even worse. But so then as I'm like sitting there like embarrassed, every time she would then speak, I would blurt out, "What's my name? What's my name?" So by the end of the meeting, I swear to God, I kid you not,
everyone was doing it.
Everybody remembered my name. Because the amount of times that I said Dave Regina, just to be funny back, it was like a real lesson. Like if somebody really forgets your name, the amount of people that will actually remember your name because of the circumstance like that, even though I felt embarrassed, it was incredible.
That's probably the best thing that could have happened.
It
honestly.
did. They said no disrespect.
To the poor lady.
They said no disrespect, and she left the meeting early. So when she was leaving, I said, "Hey, what's my name again?" Right. So then she had to say it again, and we laughed about it. She texted me after, like, "Oh my God, David, I'm so embarrassed. I'm so sorry. I didn't do that to you."
Like a card with your name.
But I swear to God, one of the funders, she ends up saying like halfway through the meeting, she's like, "I'm sorry, I don't really remember anybody's name, but I know you're Dave Regina." And I was like, yes, this is so good.
That's amazing.
So something though that I was so embarrassed about because I felt like, damn, I think I do a good job at what I do, and it was the first impression.
It's almost like it would be almost like an intentional tactic to do it that way.
Right. That's
Think
kind of
about
what I
that
was
last
thinking. I
statement you said.
swear to God.
Nobody remembered anyone's name.
They didn't.
But your name? Probably.
and then I left early, and everybody's like, "Bye, Dave Regina. Bye, Dave
Full name,
Regina." I
Nathan.
swear to God. So it just turned into something that I was like, "Damn, man, this is a real life lesson here." Like, I know it was an embarrassing moment, but then obviously I took my own introduction into hands and I made sure that like I explained what I did. But I was already feeling very insecure about the meeting when I stepped in there, not knowing who the people were. So I already felt unprepared. Then you botch my name and I'm like, oh my God, like this is a real opportunity for us to get some serious funding. Right. But I leaned on my skills and, the other, I guess I'm funny at times, right? So I leaned on some humor at times, like you always talk about.
Yeah.
And it ended up working, and we're going to be receiving some big funds, which was great. But it was almost another lesson too. I felt that what we were asking for was too little. It was a project that it wasn't even like a 6-figure project. And not that you have to ask for, astronomical amounts of money, but I felt like I told my team, I felt like we were a little unprepared because of the amount that was really in the room.
It's got to be worth their time too.
Exactly.
Because they're like, if I'm going to do this, I want to make change. It's interesting.
Yeah. But it was just, it was a funny thing, man. And it was fresh in my mind. And I was like, I got to tell these guys about,
That's pretty good.
So stop forgetting my name. All right. It's David, Michael, Regina.
Did you?
Oh, I ruined it. No, I ruined it.
What?
Did I ever tell you this story? She's not going to listen to this episode.
The different name.
Long story short, I have David M. Regina on all my stuff, right? And it says it in my office. I have a little thing that says Deputy Commissioner David M. Regina. But this stems back years ago, right? When I was in recreation.
You told this story.
I told it on the podcast?
100% you told it here.
I told it on the podcast?
Yeah.
So anyway, we convinced this coworker of mine that my middle name was Monte.
It's pretty good.
David Monte Regina. And she goes, damn, man, I always knew you were swaggy. Like, it makes sense. Like, I see you're a white boy, but like, you got a little flavor. So now I'm like, but listen, you can't tell anybody because, I'm a little embarrassed and like, Monte doesn't sound as professional and next to David. So I don't go by David Monte. I just go by David M. She's like, I will never tell a soul. Don't worry about it. And meanwhile, CV and this other guy, they've always known what it is. And I'm like, Tina, don't embarrass me. And then she's like, okay, David M. So she still thinks it's Monte. So if you listen, all right, now you know the real story.
Oh, I kind of want to bring her on here and tell her. She'd be like, no, because it's such like an insignificant thing to mess around with.
I know. Yeah, you know how I get.
It's pretty good.
All right, man, let's...
Is David even your real name?
Yeah, I don't know about that. I was supposed to be Michael. Did you know that?
David Regina.
Fun fact.
I told you I was supposed to be. Carmine.
I thought it was Consuelo.
No, Consuelo was him.
Consuelo was him. That's racist.
That's racist.
What is that from?
That's Hot 97.
What movie is that? Oh.
A movie?
I don't know.
We wanted to take a quick second to let you guys know that we partnered with our good friends over at Orgain.com. We're happy to offer our listeners 30% off by entering the code NoSnooze30. Again, that's NoSnooze30 for 30% off your first order. If you're on the market for a new protein powder, nutritional shake, protein bar, or Mike's favorite, collagen peptides, Orgain is your one-stop shop. As all of you know, my Crohn's disease is currently in remission, and the only protein I use is from Orgain. My personal favorites are the chocolate peanut butter and the vanilla bean. With the code, you can try a 2-pound tub for under $20. Talk about not snoozing. Go get yours today. Now, back to the epi.
All right, man, let's get into today's topic, right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Whatever
the process, I guess, of commitment.
The big process.
The big process, right?
That's
so I got about 24 steps for you guys today.
Steps I can do.
Yeah, steps I could do, No. So as I'm thinking about, a level of commitment in anything in life, whether it's a lofty goal, whether it's a job that you're committing to, whether it's a relationship, I do think that the first thing that's necessary is something we always discuss, but it's learning how to really develop discipline, because without discipline, you can't commit to anything, right? Does that make sense to you? And now, if you don't have discipline, you can change that. And I was listening to this Lewis House podcast. He had a great guest on who was actually a brain surgeon, right? And he broke it down in terms of something that sounded, I didn't really understand it, but then when I listened to it, it was so simple. And it says, reduce it to the ridiculous, right? So all you have to do is wire your brain to something that is so ridiculous. And what that does is when you give yourself a command. So if I'm sitting in a chair and I have no discipline in my life and I say, David, stand up now. And I stand up, right? What I'm actually doing is creating what's called neuroplasticity in the brain. And there's a neural pattern that begins to develop when you tell yourself something that you're going to take an action and you actually do it, right? So when you string together like 30 of those small ones throughout the day, your neural patterns begin to change. And he said that's the difference maker in life, because people get from one step to the next, but half the people can't even get that first step because they overthink the process. Reduce it to the ridiculous was something that I was like, damn, I wish I thought about that, but I'm not a brain surgeon.
It's pretty good.
Right?
The big science is back, by the way.
Is back. I like when he gets big scientific on me. There's again, you're not a movie guy, but one of the Men in Black.
This
movies,
one I'm going to know. Oh,
do you know Men in Black?
no.
It's so the concept is Will Smith, right? And there's
They're
aliens
obviously wearing
among
black.
us. They wear black suits.
Are they black guys?
One black
Well,
guy,
Will
one
Smith.
white guy.
Okay, all right.
So they basically, there's aliens among us, right? So one of the aliens is basically in a body, but like in a little ship in the head, and he's just like doing all the controls.
Okay.
Right. So what I've started to think is that if I'm in pain, if I'm tired, if I'm et cetera, that's just my case, my body, that is, but my brain's not. Like my brain's fresh. My guy in there is good.
That's right.
So you just got to move the controls, which is kind of weird to say.
But now you can get to a point like David Goggins, right? Where, and I think I'm at this place too, a little bit, not on the same level as Goggins, right? But I do think that your brain can become so much stronger than your body. Yeah. And to an extent that can hinder you, because if I feel like a little twinge in my shoulder, my brain is telling me, keep going, keep going, keep going. And if I just keep going, I'm going to end up getting hurt. David Goggins, he continues to run and his feet are like falling off, like literally falling off.
Not smart.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so it gets to a point that, well, I guess when you develop too much discipline, I'm not at that level nearly yet, but there are times in the gym where I'm like, I don't think that's a good pain. And then I keep like fighting through it. So it's a balance.
You can't
like
be
anything.
dumb. I mean,
right?
That's 100%.
So the second thing that I have is the ability to take away choice when you commit to something, right? When we're only half committed to things, we open the door for opportunity to basically screw it up. If you're saying that you're on a diet, right? How often do we do this? We say, okay, I'm on this diet, but I'm going to go out with my friends and enjoy it. Or, oh, okay, I have a family gathering, so I'm going to enjoy it. Oh, the coworker brought donuts in today. I don't want to offend them, so I'm going to have a donut, right? When in reality, if you committed to that actual diet, you should be on a diet. It's not that you have to go eat leaves and berries, but you can go out and have a really scrumptious salad and just get a little straight drink with 100 calories versus drinking rum and cokes all night.
So I would counter, I don't think anyone should go on a diet. I think they should eat how they eat.
Right.
I talked to Ambrosia about this because we were doing a little strategy meeting. I was helping out. She was asking questions. I said, number one issue, I think, is you tell people it's a diet. Or like, I think you just tell them this is how you're going to eat from now on.
That's an even better point, right? Take away the choice of you being on a diet. Diet sounds temporary to me.
You just eat. And then if you eat something, it's a part of the way you eat, but it's not a negative. Right. If you're on a diet and you cheat on your diet, then you're telling your brain like, oh, I failed. Right. Versus I eat well and then I'll occasionally have something good if it's worth it. That's how I think of it now. Right. Like, is it worth it? And if it's worth it, then there's no remorse on like, all right, I'm going to enjoy the shit out of this. Yeah. And I'm not just going to mindlessly eat potato chips, but I'm going to go out and I'm going to have a bacon, egg, and cheese on a Friday, you know?
Yeah. But you build that into your lifestyle. That makes sense. I think a lot of times we go into things not fully diving all in. And I think to really commit to a process, you have to give it everything you got, right? Like in a friendship, you don't go into that friendship or a relationship and you're like, I'm only going to, be a good person half the time, right? You're really good to other people for the most part, we are. But we have to be really good to ourselves. So when you commit to things, it's different. And this is a huge thing too. You really like the idea of something versus really wanting to commit. And that was a thing that I used to, screw up back in the day. I almost used a bad word. Screw up back in the day where I really liked the idea of things, but then I would do it for a little bit and then stop completely. I think there's a process to trying to figure it out, but you shouldn't have 100,000 commitments in your life, right? There should be a select few that you're committed to. And not that you're not giving 100% if you screw up one day. That's not what this is about. There's nothing in life is perfect. But when you really want something, you'll go all in for it, you know?
I don't know if you gave this stat, but if you commit to one goal, the chances of you achieving is 82%.
Mm-hmm.
Two is 42.
Yep.
Or something, 40. And then 3 is 3%.
Right. Yeah. Thank you. The big process.
Did you
remember
did you say that at some point?
Yeah.
I heard it again today on a real estate podcast.
It's good.
And I'm like, oh, that's pretty good.
It's good because that was the difference between basically high performance achievers in one single lane versus multitaskers, because only 3% of individuals in life are actually chemically wired to be successful as a multitasker, which is not me. I can do multiple things to a decent level, right? But for me, I cannot multitask and reach peak performance in anything.
Yeah.
You know?
But there's there's getting things done, being able to switch in between things. You're not technically multitasking.
Right. But like you were trying to build your legs. Look, you got chicken legs, but you got great abs. So it's not like, you know.
Speaking of, the squats have been nice. I don't know if you've seen.
Yeah.
Getting deep.
You
see those
Yeah,
moves?
man.
I still can't take the plates out. We're getting there.
Go ahead, man.
So,
Talk to me.
Well, what was I just saying? So the committing and like you got to dive all in. There's the thing of burning the boats where you don't give yourself a plan B. Obviously,
i.e. what you're doing right now.
I mean, so the way I calm myself down, I'm like, worst case, I'll go work for a firm. Worst case, right? I could always go back to the firm I was at. You know, I can always get a finance job at a real estate company, and it's wow.
Sorry, guys. Sorry.
Fumbaruskis. But yeah, you got to burn the boats, right? You got to have the talk, and then you're in. You can't do the term's half pregnant. You can't be half pregnant.
I do think, though, there is something to be said. Sorry, I made a mess over here.
And I think you have to make it public.
Yes, I think making it public is great. But also, I do think to burn the boats, right? Like you're in a position that you have the skills at least. You have the skills, you have the resources, and you've been doing this work for a long time. So it's a smart move on your behalf. I don't want people to hear this and be like, no, I'm going to commit to, going on my own, and they've never done anything before.
Yeah, but you can burn the boats like in just if you're prepared mentally to figure it out. Like when I first started real estate, I didn't have any skills. I mean, I had general sales skills, but I didn't know what to do. And I burned the boats.
Still have mediocre skills and mediocre legs. So
the legs are getting there. They're going to be nice.
No, I'm just messing with you.
But yeah, the burn the boats is a thing. For me, I need to do it. Like I can't say, all right, I'm going to start part-time and then scale it up. Like I have to immerse myself in whatever I'm going after. For example, getting crazy about the 10%. Like I had to be in it. Like there was no tactic was too crazy. Buy the treadmill, buy the I don't like limiting the creativity when pursuing a goal.
Right. And I had loved what we kind of always talk about. But I mean, for me, we always talk about the fitness thing because of, basically where I was at a certain point in my life when it came to health and wellness. I was basically forced into it. But, a couple episodes back, but this is just a good time to rehash it. Mike had basically told me that he was, making this move, but it wasn't official yet, so we couldn't really discuss it. And then when I was talking about the 10% thing, I'm like, well, what did it really mean to you? And your answer was basically like, if I couldn't commit to myself, right, and get this done and achieve this goal and commit to this entire process, what makes me think that I can really go out on my own and make it happen for my family?
Yeah.
Which I think is a really good lesson for fitness in general, because if you can't commit to, walking for 30 days straight, what makes you believe that you can commit to any other relationship in your life or anything if you can't even have the pride and the discipline to do something small for yourself?
Yeah, so thank you. So I like linking things together. So like if I do this, then I can reward myself and do this other goal. Or, if you set these like little games for yourself, you can keep yourself honest and link things together. It helps you closing to the next. So in sales, you're supposed to close to the next event, the next meeting, the next touch point. So I think with goals, you got to do the same thing. Like when we finished the 10%, now the goal was like, all right, I'm going to run this 5K. And now the goal is like, all right, I'm going Iron Mike mode where I'm going to try to bench 400. So like, there's things that
and bite people's ears.
It might if Jeffrey I lose my mind. I refuse to watch it.
It's bad.
It's so disturbing to even think of the concept that I'm not going to watch it. That's the other thing I'm doing this year. And when I say year, because
I eat people and take them from the bar.
So I said it last time. I'm do less, but I'm also going to intake less just random stuff. Like I'm going to be very, I have been known to jump around in the podcast world and listen to a lot of comedy. Now it's literally going to be fitness, real estate. That's it. Nothing else. There's no other. I'm not jumping into this random one because I like the concept. No more Bitcoin. I've already committed to what I'm doing there. I have my daily purchases. Like, I'm not changing anything. So it is what it is. Like, I've sometimes you listen to things to reassure yourself that you're thinking the right way, versus now it's more of and you can, with the real estate stuff, like I like to stay fresh and hear new things and then reinforce what I already do.
Right.
But I'm realizing that there's so much time in the day, there's so much energy. I just can't, at this time at least, be too all over the place. Like everything needs to get very dialed in. So that was like one thing, because I would. It's not like I'm going to not watch TV, but I'm going to limit like the junk that I watch.
Right. No,
the Dahmer thing. There's no upside. I don't know.
I agree.
It's entertaining, but
it's
awful.
It's not entertaining.
Like, it's effed up. Like, it's just like, I talk to Dana all the time about this. And
Did she watch it?
Well, I don't know, but she watches stuff, and I'm like, if you enjoy it, great. But like, it's another murder thing. Like, this is awful. Like, this is so sad.
You're feeding your brain with something crazy.
It's
CB,
so
you know about this Jeffrey Dahmer thing? But you heard about it, right? Oh yeah, I mean,
isn't it so disturbing? Especially now, like, there's people that are like dressing up like him for Halloween. I'm like, you're dressing up as someone who fucking murders people and eats people. Like, what?
So weird.
Isn't that weird?
I think it's even weirder that the police went in a couple times and they're like, what's that smell? Like, what's that? And it's like dead people that are in a drum with acid. Like, it's just wild.
It's awful.
But fun fact, you mentioned Bitcoin. Did you see, and I don't know how I feel about this. So again, I'm in some large investments myself, right? Financial investments.
This is not financial advice.
No, absolutely not. But for myself, over the course of the past 6 to 8 months, I've lost a significant amount of money in my long-term investments, right? Which is, okay for me because I have time as an asset to me, right?
Yep.
Like, I'm not planning to pull out anytime soon. Ooh. But
I got a good point for you. So the reason that I'm so obsessed with the crock pot is no, this connects. This all connects. You ready? I was actually thinking of it. I'm like, this is good shit. When you cook something on the high heat and you need to cook it fast, what's your margin for error?
You're going to burn it.
Very little, right? It's very hard to cook quickly and make something delicious, right? When you cook in a crock pot, you can F it up. The timing doesn't have to be perfect. You just go and you come back in a later date. And it's delicious.
Right.
So I'm like, that's how I invest in assets.
Be the crock pot.
I'm the crock pot. I slowly heat that baby up.
Fire.
Is that good or what?
That's good. That's good. That's good. No, it is good. But yeah, that's the exact approach that I'm taking in some, personal accounts of mine, right? And I saw that Logan Paul has an NFT.
Yeah.
Was it Logan or his brother?
Which one?
One of them.
Might both have them.
Yeah. But anyway, and I do believe in the NFT world. I'm just not personally knowledgeable enough on it to be dumping a significant amount of money into something that I'm not knowledgeable about. So if you have that, cool, no problem. But I saw that one of his investments, he bought it for $623,000, and it's worth $10 today.
Isn't that crazy?
Right? And there's nothing saying that, because if it went down that quick, I mean, there's obviously potential that it went up that quick as well. But I mean, that's bizarre. And hopefully he's in it for the long term. But that's how volatile these things are.
So I actually agree with you. Like, I like the NFT stuff. I like the stuff that has something linked to it, like a club membership. So I bought Christian Petroni, who's a chef that has.
I thought it was a church.
You would love this guy. Italian dude. He's from Brooklyn or Bronx, Brooklyn, one of the two. And he just talks over while he cooks. And he's like, oh, this morning I was craving a mortadella sandwich. But he's like on Food Network, and he started Fortina.
What's his name?
One of our favorite spots.
Oh yeah, there we go.
I think he had a falling out with Fortina, but he released an NFT, and he basically gives you access to those pop-ups. So I bought a couple because I'm like, A, you're supporting the guy because I like watching his stuff. I think he seems like a good dude. Mm-hmm. And then B, you get to enjoy and go to these things. So it's something that I was like, I want to buy and test it, but I also want to do it with Tell Mike sent you locally. Because I think it'd be cool to have people buy into the experience, over deliver, and then it kind of grows into this like very exclusive club type thing. Mm-hmm. But the NFT world's cool. I think there's gonna be a lot of.
I just don't want to. I don't want to be on the other end of that
real estate
$10 thing.
Real estate's going to be all NFTs. You know, there's going to be linked to like.
I bought a picture of a mansion.
No, think about.
Can't actually get into the mansion.
No, think about a gym, right?
Yeah.
So if you want to be a part of this gym and you buy an NFT, you're helping fund it being built out. And then it gives you access to like, all right, you have 24-hour access.
Yep.
The general public does not, but you do because you're an initial investor.
Mhm.
Every time we drop merch, you get a free thing, you know? So it's
Yep.
cool. It's
Yep.
a cool, you know, artists are going to do it. Like if Drake, when he was small, released an NFT, you were big on him early. Frank was big. You probably would have bought an NFT and now you could go to maybe his concerts now for cheap because you've
That is
had
a cool concept.
It's a cool concept. But the Bitcoin stuff, I think, is super interesting now because talking about commitment, you talk about all these theories, what you think, your conviction. When you commit and stuff like the market is happening now, this is where the fortunes are going to be made.
Yes.
This is where if people stick to their guns and they're correct, it's going to be life-changing amount of wealth.
Right.
It might not happen in a year, it might not happen in 2 years, it might happen 3. But if you're in it for the crockpot timeline, then you got a good shot at doing well. We watched Gaming Wall Street. You ever see that documentary about GameStop?
No.
Got to watch it. Awesome. It's about how they basically people were buying into GameStop and
stock.
they pushed it up. Yeah,
The stock,
remember
oh
we
yeah,
made
when
a
the stock
fortune?
blew. Yeah, the stock went from what, $25 to like over 300 or something.
It went
Crazy.
from like some like it went crazy low to like 600, something like that.
Okay,
and
yeah.
but it shows you the people that were in early and understood the fundamentals and what they thought would happen that stuck with it. And one woman had cancer, and instead of pulling her money out and paying for her cancer, she actually took some loans. And I wouldn't recommend that. I'm
Right.
like, that is ridiculous that
It's
you did
really
that, but
burning
good
the
for
boats.
you. But it was interesting to see these people and their conviction, and some who invested in 2017. Then it happened in 2021, I think, or 2021.
Yep.
2021.
I remember that. I do remember that well.
But it was a good thing to watch because now I'm preaching these things, and you're like, you really aren't investing until you're in a down market.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
everyone can be an investor in an up market, but when shit's hitting the fan, you realize who's
And you
like,
got other life stuff going on.
yeah, like
You know?
the name of the game, like in Monopoly, is you don't want to have to sell your buildings or your assets, and you don't want to go bankrupt. Those are the two things. If you don't do that, your chances are infinitely better, obviously,
Right.
to do well. So,
Very good.
and part of the reason I was ready to commit to this new endeavor was like, I don't want to be making this business while everything's amazing. Because if everything's amazing, then the goal is to just sell stuff, right? Versus when there's uncertainty, there's a little bit of chaos. That's when the best businesses are made. Like when you have time to plant your feet, add your value to people, because a skillful sailor never was made by smooth seas or something.
Mhm.
Basically, when there's uncertainty and it's not cookie cutter, that's when everyone flies to quality and there's a flight to the best. So it's like, it sucks. It's going to be hard, but it's the best time to start something is when there's chaos.
Right. I couldn't agree more with you. Well said.
Crockpot.
Crockpot.
How good do you use the crockpot?
Used to a lot.
Dude,
Like a lot.
incredible, right?
I used to a
Incredible.
lot.
I took a chuck roast. I put in a 10-calorie, sugar-free
Marinade.
Lowry's marinade. 8 hours later, I'm a chef. Incredible. I was
Fall
so
off the
pumped.
bone,
Fall
right?
off the bone.
I know.
Rice
I
cooker,
know.
2 seconds. I mean, I literally don't have to. I have a private chef, and his name is Croc, and then the other one is Pot. I was thinking rice pot.
Yeah, I got you. So I wanted to share a story too in terms of commitment, right?
I got stories.
I got a
today,
story today,
huh?
Michael.
Another story.
Story reg me, if you will. So there's a concept that I thought about, and it's something that happened to me on a personal level when I was back in college during my athletic career. And I think when you're in the process of commitment, it's a fine line, but you have to actually commit to the right thing. Because I was basically coming in as a transfer student from Bryant University, right? And, you know,
Forgot you went to Bryant.
yeah. And I was there for a short time, but one of the top business schools in the country. Really good time. I just didn't like that whole Rhode Island area, to be honest with you. Sorry to our listeners in Rhode Island. It just wasn't home like New York is home to
Dave,
me.
don't worry. I don't sell in Rhode Island, so I could care less.
All right. Fuck those people. You know? No, just kidding, guys. Love
They're
you.
going to clip that out.
Well, you're right.
Cancel.
Love you guys. So, obviously the people in New York at Manhattanville College, they're swaggy basketball players, and, they're like, who really is this guy? Whatever. Like, even the coaches, like, they're like, I know we have this Division I transfer coming in, but I was battling a lot of health issues at that time. That was actually when I was at my worst. And I was 18 years old at that time. And my goal and my commitment level was to just getting myself onto the Manhattanville roster. Right. So I did any and everything in my power to make sure that I got onto that roster. I'm talking, 4 a.m. wake ups. I was waking the entire team up. Mind you, if you didn't know anybody on the team and this dude comes banging on your door at 3:45, yo guys, I'm just making sure that you're up for a 4:15 lift, right? They're like, who the f- is this guy? Right. But I set that culture from day one. Right. So I was doing those types of things with the end goal in mind of just making the roster, where in reality, my end goal should have been like becoming the best player on that team that year. Right. You see what I'm saying? So I was committed to the wrong thing. I was doing, I'm staying after practice. I'm doing all the things I would have typically done anyway. But I believe that my commitment level was off because my goal was wrong. And then when I finally achieved the goal, I had to sit down with one of the coaches, and he's like, yo, but where do you go from here? Right. And it didn't even occur to me because I was so satisfied with just getting onto the actual roster that I never even started to anticipate the next step. So I almost went too all in for the wrong goal. And you know what ended up happening that year? I didn't even see the floor. And it's one of the craziest lessons because I had the potential to be by far one of the best players on that team. But obviously there was a lot of health issues that went into it, but also there was a lack of commitment to my process. I was paying for some of my insurances at that time. I had a really weird situation when it came to college. Then I had a concussion. But at that time, instead of me recommitting to something else, I couldn't get back into the mindset because I had already given everything I had to the wrong freaking goal. Does that make sense?
You gotta set big goals.
I get it, but that's the first time in my life that when I was thinking back on commitment, I'm like, sometimes you can shoot your shot and your shot could be wrong. Very literal.
But it's also, you could argue that you committed to the right thing, and when you got on, your luck wasn't on your side. I mean, it happens.
It does, but it was different, man, because honestly, he called me out, and I remember Mike Pinella, a very good mentor of mine. And see, you know him, right? So he was actually one of my grad assistants at the time. And he was like, dude, like, obviously you were going to make the team. Like, where do you go from here? And I didn't even have a response because I was so like proud that like I proved like these New Yorkers wrong. And I already knew I should have been on that team. But it baffled me that I got to a place in my life that I was like, I don't even know where to go. Because I couldn't recommit to something as hard as I just committed to that process.
Gotcha.
If that makes sense.
Shot your shot. Yeah. You shot your shot early.
So the lesson there is to make sure you're choosing the right commitment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you learn something from that experience?
I just spoke on it. I mean,
yeah.
Right. So that's the point.
Shoot higher.
No. So that's the point.
I was gonna say, damn, bro. Listen.
It wasn't for nothing. All of our experiences teach us something along the way, and that was one. So maybe in that moment there was a little bit of a stumble along the way.
Yeah, but can I be honest with you? I think
who you are today.
I think it's one of my biggest, and I'll say it's a failure. That's one of my biggest failures in life to date. Is that because I think I completely missed my full potential. Here I go from being a high school star. Literally, I mean, in 2008, I was the number 5 scorer in the state of Connecticut. Right?
Do you have a ball that shows your
Yes, I do.
points?
Absolutely. Signed, dotted, dated, and everything.
I want that as a gift one year.
No, I'm giving it to Alyssa.
No, not the. I want a replica.
I'm giving it to you.
I want a little small replica
to your sister,
and I'll put it in my new office.
You can make an NFT.
NFT.
you go.
Let's go. Yeah, but like here you go. Like you're feeling yourself. Yeah, I got a little Crohn's disease. No big deal. Lost 54 pounds. No big deal. But my skill set, I felt like I was I was recruited highly at a Division I level and barely played at a Division III school.
So, but
fail.
But it all happens for a reason.
Nah, bro. I
don't think so?
I guess.
I think so. I'm a very firm believer that like if it wasn't meant to be, it didn't happen. But no, I know. I'm reiterating. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess, but I had to miss out on
I
a lot
don't
of good
look
things.
back much. You can't.
No,
There's too much shit
but it's
going
just
on.
something that when I was talking about commitment, I thought about it and I was like, ugh, I don't even really want to talk about it because it's embarrassing for me.
I don't think it's pretty impressive.
Impressive?
To even have the opportunity.
Wow, you're
I mean,
really
you had
good.
Crohn's disease.
I guess. Yeah, I mean,
what do you want?
you can use that. That's true. I guess.
No, I'm not saying use it. I'm just saying you have to be realistic about stuff.
Yeah, but
No?
that's why fun fact, that's why I had to come back home.
Yeah.
Because I needed to be close to my doctor. Because, a 2.5 hour drive to Rhode Island when I needed my infusion wasn't happening.
Do you think if given the opportunity, you'd rather be like a NBA player?
That was never that was never really a goal of mine.
So who cares?
Ever.
Right?
No.
If you weren't going to the NBA, then what's the point of playing high level at a T3 school? Who gives a shit?
All right.
See, that's how I am.
F that.
I'm like, all right, well, I enjoyed playing sports. Didn't do anything spectacular at all. No 1,000 points.
Good flag football guy.
Best spots you play, but I remember thinking like, well, if I'm not going to the NBA, then who cares? Like if I'm not going to the NFL, then like my heart's not in it.
Yeah.
So that is a good thing because when my heart's in it, I'm like, I can go to the moon.
Right.
But when my heart's not in it, I'm like, I'm good. Like it's whatever,
Yeah, I do. Flag football fun fact. So when I do pull-up, when I do pull-ups.
You can do pull-ups?
Yeah. Check me out on Instagram, NoSnoozePodcast.
Are you doing 50? Throw out a goal.
No. But not yet. Hold on.
We can't get him to do a goal.
I know. I'm going to read 10 pages a day, guys. I got it. All right. Listen, 10-page Dave.
What's like you bench 400?
But wait.
Sorry.
Let me
get me all fired up.
So when I do a lot of pull-ups, my hands, they slip, right? They're wet because you're soft. I know. Because you got weak fingers. No, so
my hands never slip.
They get wet from sweat.
Let me clarify. My hands never slip.
They get wet.
When I do my 3,
big dude walks by, right? And I have a towel on pull-up days that I do like a lot of pull-ups.
Is that what the towel is for?
Yes, and it hangs down. Right?
No, listen. For swag?
No, listen. That's the actual function of my towel because I'm always drenched. So if I touch my shirt, it gets wet. If I touch my shorts, wet. So I grab the towel, right? So he looked at me the other day and he was like, bro, you're not playing flag football. Why is the towel hanging off of you? And I thought it was so funny. It was so funny. And I started cracking up. I was like, no, it's actually functional. He was like, yeah, no, let's take it off. So it was good. But I do use it for function. Because I'm wet, man. I'm wet. Yeah. Kid is wet. Like my jump shot, wet. I have a tactic for you guys. Business tactic.
I got to focus on one thing.
In terms of commitment, right? This is a way that I actually get out of commitments because I see that as I get older, more productive, when you take on family life and all that stuff, it's time consuming. So your level of commitment, you have to be pretty careful with. Now, any new endeavor that comes my way, I do it on a trial basis because if you dead something right from the start, that's okay. But if somebody comes to you off of a commitment and they want a commitment from you, it's because they do value what you can bring to the table. So there is a level of offense that can be taken if you just dead something from the start. Of course, if it's nothing long-term that you want to be involved in, you don't even see any potential, sure, shut it down. But something that I've been doing, and I actually did it twice now, I commit on a trial basis, right? And I'll commit to, if it's a committee or something that I need to be on, I'll commit to 30 days. And I give them my word that I'm going to commit for the first month because I need to see how I can build this into my lifestyle. And at the end of that 30 days, for the past 2 commitments, I've actually dropped out. But it was a very clean break because I said, listen, I really enjoyed my time here. I do see the value in this, but I can't prioritize this responsibility over something else that I have prior. And right now is just not the time. I wish you guys well. Happy to, be a consultant or whatever it is. But at this time, I do just have to break ties. And it was something that I didn't really think it was a tactic that I was doing. It was just an approach that I was like, I actually want to see what this is about. And if I give it 30 days and I can attend 6 meetings in 30 days, it will give me an idea of what the bigger scope is about. But you can't go wrong by committing to something for a very short time period. So I think it was a little business tactic.
No, I like that.
Right?
So something that I've consciously made an effort for now, similar to that, is I don't, going off my own, I'm not taking on any agents because I don't want to prioritize mentoring people because I don't feel like I'm even close to where I want to be. And I'd rather build out what I want to build versus trying to coach and teach people because that's not something I enjoy. Mm-hmm. So that's been something that I've been really conscious of. And then also not taking on new things and new clients that just don't make sense So I've been trying to be a lot more strategic, like you're saying, when opportunities, because now we're in a weird spot where now the opportunities are coming in.
Yes.
And you're forced to filter them versus in the past, you were just so happy for an opportunity. Right. You're like, I'll take anything because I'll sell it. Now it's like, do I want to sell it? Do I have time to sell it? Is it a long-term valuable for both of us? So it's interesting how things shift. And then you made a great comment of, I can't prioritize this over something else. Now it's a game of I'm choosing this over something, right? Which gets real dicey.
Yeah, because your time's taken up, right?
Yeah.
Like you have an established career, you have an established family, you're booked.
Yeah.
So now it's about finding the priority level that you give to things.
My fault, my error in this whole last 2-3 years is that I assumed that I was going to have the same amount of time and I could do more things because I'm getting more efficient. I didn't account for having 50% of the time and then having you do, in your already core commitments, them taking up even more time as they grow.
Right.
I made the error of thinking everything was linear. So now I'm trying to readjust for all of that. And unfortunately, my cooking has suffered the most. And now I'm down to a crock pot and some rice.
Listen, as long as your chicken doesn't look like Ambrosio's chicken, then we're good.
That's why I get mad at them. I'm like, if you get I text them crock pot game changer. Because it looks delicious.
Yeah. But he sits there for like 45 minutes in the oven with these big old chicken breasts that are just white, no seasoning. But that's why he looks like the way he does. So
I don't agree. I think he can get that without
I agree.
eating boiled chicken.
I don't eat that. And I look decent.
What's the goal? What are we going to do? It doesn't have to be like a time, just, is there something you want to knock out fitness wise? I like the fitness goals.
I mean, fitness wise, I want to maintain this level of consistency.
It's boring.
It's not boring, bro. It's at a high level, right? You achieved a goal, beautiful goal.
It was fun.
It was lofty. It was fun. But if you only now work out 2 days a week, where's the longevity in that?
Well, I have 2 kids, so you got to account for that.
So there's not, look at Ambrosio.
Yes, but he 2 months in wasn't doing the same workouts every day. Correct?
I get that. Yeah, and working out is one small thing, right? Like that's not even.
It's not like I'm 20% right now. Like I still have
18.5 is fine,
But if my argument is you can push and then there's a little drop back and then you push past.
Yes, I agree with that. I agree with that 100%. I'm busting you.
But I'm saying
But yeah, I mean, in terms of a set goal. Sorry, my leg is cramping on me.
What?
Gotta work on my legs. I don't know. I mean, I love the pull-up game. I told you I want to be able to clip those pretty nicely. I could do 25 straight. If you get to 50, that's cool.
It's cool. It's nothing like.
No, it's pretty cool. Listen. If you go
around, you're like, I can do 50 pull-ups in a row. People are like, eh.
You know what's crazy? There was a statistic.
Right?
There was a statistic that said if you can run a mile, do 10 pull-ups. Oh no, do 5 strict pull-ups and 10 strict push-ups. You're in the top 5% of people. How crazy is that? A strict pull-up is literally a military style pull-up. So you're wide grip, hanging all the way down.
I could do that.
And then pulling. Of course you can, Michael.
Yeah.
Of
I
course
could do
you can.
5.
But it sounds like it's something easy, but that's crazy that 95% of the population can't do something like that.
All right, we're getting off track here.
Honestly, I haven't thought about that. No. I would like to do that in my head, but
the time
I can't run a marathon. The preparation, and then I think I would have to get super skinny.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I think I would lose a lot of weight training for that. If that makes sense.
Like the 400 pounds, something like that, where you don't have to completely change everything, where it's just dialing in your workouts, what you're working out towards.
Yeah.
Something like that, where it's not like it's going to be fun to pursue. I don't want to get hurt, but it'll. You know what I'm saying?
I would
not
have to put
running
thought
a marathon.
into it,
The amount of time, the commitment is crazy. So that's not even a thought.
Yeah, I enjoy running. Think of some goals for me. Think of some goals. We'll reassess.
The 400 would be fun if I could ever get to that'd be a number that you'd be like, holy hell!
See, I don't even think that though.
Well, you're big already and you're already there. So it's
but you see what I'm saying? So it doesn't matter because any goal that I achieve, people will always be like, "Oh, you're already fit."
No. It's got to be 50 pull-ups is good in a row. That's pretty awesome.
No, that's insane. I don't think I can do that.
Well, why don't you do that?
It's tough. It's tough.
Yeah,
I'm scared of commitment.
It's good narrative for the show.
It is.
I mean,
I'm scared of commitment on that level, right? Because if you do something, and honestly, the reality is I'm not ready to commit to the.
What about an eating challenge?
To the process of that. I
You
could
wanna
do that on a
pizza
one-time
day,
basis.
Stay under 9%.
Whoa, I don't think that could be done.
Probably.
You
You
think?
just have to work out a lot,
Oof.
burn it off.
I would eat pizza on the treadie,
You could.
right? Like while you work out.
One
you eat
slice
pizza.
a day for a month standard.
I don't know. We got to circle back to that.
Or why don't you get down to like 4%?
4%. That I could do. I'd be able to do that.
You need some. I feel like I need something. And now I'm in the phase of like, I need to survive.
But that's where we're very different, right? Like
Yeah.
I don't.
I like
for
that.
me, yes, you get incentivized, you get motivated by that. For me, this is a drive that I have. Like my goal, right, is to be in really good shape for a really, really long time. As long as I'm living, I want to be at my best. Am I at my peak of all time? Absolutely not. But am I happy with where I'm at? Yes. And that to me motivates me every day, because every time that I either work out or I put, good nutrition into my body, it's for the bigger goal of staying alive. And can I get hit by a bus tomorrow? Can I have a heart attack tomorrow? Of course.
Yeah.
You can be the healthiest dude in the world and still die at a young age. But I'm trying to do everything in my power to, just even be there for my daughter. If you have more kids, my grandkids, that longevity to me means a lot. My grandfather was 75 years old when he died of diabetes, and the last 5 years of his life was terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Like I want to be 75 and thriving. There's this dude in the gym. His name is David. Coincidence, he's 82 years old. He's in Florida right now, and he looks incredible. And I'm like, what did you do? And he's like, honestly, I was you. It's funny because when you talk to people who are like heavy and they're older, they're like, oh, I was you back then, blah, blah, blah. You're never going to be able to sustain this. Whereas I had a serious conversation with two dudes. One was 65 and one was 82. And they're both in incredible shape. And I said, what do you guys think about that? Like, am I just delusional to think that in 30 years I'm going to be in great shape? They said, Dave, you already have it. You're going to be that. You're going to be probably better than us. And it was great to hear, because you always hear I used to be this, I used to be that. Whereas they're like, dude, you have the habit now. There's no reason why you're not going to have the habit later. Yeah. They said, I was the exact same, if not even, I still wasn't as committed as you are. Yeah. So it's nice to hear that like you're already on the track,
Yeah.
But the single goal thing, I mean, I'll do it for you guys, but it doesn't motivate me any more than
I think it's
waking up
fun.
every day.
I think if you can do that while maintaining, it gives you like a change in pace. Like it keeps me excited about it. I actually really enjoy lifting weights and running. I just haven't had the time to be able to like do
That's
it
a good
consistently.
goal. Lift weights while you run.
Yeah. But I think in life there's events where they take priority because they're so all immersive. Yes, I'm trying to make time, but the reality is like some things it's just not worth it in the short term. And if I can maintain and kind of hold the line, so to speak, I don't have to be progressing necessarily.
Right. I agree with that.
I just have to kind of I need to fight the urge to let it all collapse.
I agree.
You know what I mean?
The only argument I'll have back to that is you were talking for a long time when you were trying to achieve this goal on the reduction in stress that working out provided to you.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? So for me, I don't care what it is. I could have 5 kids,
Yeah.
It just, there's a benefit to me to make sure that I prioritize that and I find the time, because if I'm reducing my stress, I don't have to be getting stronger or something, but if I'm reducing my stress, then I'm able to tackle life's
in a perfect world,
things.
yes. But you have days obviously where that's not a reality.
Yes.
Right. You have a schedule that gets effed up. Kids don't sleep. You have to
sleep
pick up
is
an
the toughest
appointment.
of all of them.
So I don't want to make an excuse for myself. And Ambrosia actually apologized because he's like, I thought you were full of it when we first met, but then I realized that you do have this gear that you turn on when you can and you have time. So thank you, AC. I appreciate that. But
man, that gear was $800. That's what the gear was.
I have a money gear.
You take that money out of the equation, and the gear would have been.
I didn't. Do you know what I did with the money? Do you know what I gave it to Dana.
That's cool.
I didn't even
you still got the money though.
I could care less.
That was a driving motive.
No, it was pride.
Yes,
I could care less about the money. Not true.
Hey.
It felt good.
Yes.
The money I like to win because it shows that you guys were committed. I don't know if you have the same. I know you do. I know you probably do too. But a lot of times you make bets with people and they don't care. It's not fun. The bet's not fun if they don't care, right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, we're gonna bet 6, and then you don't care. That's not fun.
Yeah, I get it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But point being, there is, yes, in theory, this all sounds great. I'm coming from the camp of like, there are, when you're starting a business, when you're doing these things and there's a timeline to get shit done, if I don't get my workout in and I get the thing done so I can push forward and then work out the next day, I'm going to adjust.
Absolutely.
And yes, I would love to have a set time every day that I can be like 100%.
That's not realistic right now.
But the reality is when you have the team, you got Dana, you got the two, and nothing is consistent. I'm just trying to do my best within this weird situation because it's going to change. So I'm like, I'm not going to create all these new things that I'm going to kill myself to do because I've done this before and I know in 4 months, I'll figure it out, right? Mm-hmm. For these 3 months, it's just scramble and get stuff done as much as you can. Go for the walks, eat as best you can, do everything you can do. And I'm not making excuses. I'm just saying for people out there that are going through it, don't abandon ship.
Right.
Like,
that's
it'll
the worst
be fine.
thing you can do.
Because I get overwhelmed where I'm like, I didn't get my workout. I didn't work out 40 minutes. I didn't run 20 minutes. But if I didn't get it, at least I got benching in and I was able to walk during open houses. I
think you're doing a great job with everything that you're doing. I don't think that your life is easy by any means. I do have to, fire you up and touch the cheeks.
Well, a lot of time you talk in theory of like, no, you do it, but the reality of life is like, it's not how it works. There's days where I'd rather than work out, be doing something else so that the next day I can work out, like I get it. You should stick to a schedule if you can. That's not the reality of my days. So I'm not hard on myself anymore because it's unwanted stress. Because if I'm not working out and then I'm also stressed about not working out, then it makes it worse. Compounds.
Yeah. Working out really in the grand scheme of things. I mean, for me, it has a personal meaning. It's not the end all be all, especially if that's not the advice that I'm giving anybody.
No, I'm
you know
not
what I'm
saying
saying?
You are, but I
think anybody can benefit from a lifestyle in health and wellness, but I know there's hard times in life, man.
Yeah.
Believe me, I get it.
Yeah.
And I think you tackle it with, the best approach possible. And I know that you have the ability to turn it on whenever you do. And it's not that you turned it off. I'm just I'm just
gonna get a better body, and then I'm just gonna laugh and be like, "It's whatever."
I can't introduce you as Michael, the better body.
The better body. That's gonna be the new nickname.
Anything else on commitment?
Last thing I'll say is sometimes everything's pointing you in one direction, and you're like, "It would be easier to do this. It'd be less hard. It makes sense, but you gotta trust your gut." And it was something that my previous company did everything I asked for that would have made me happy. And ultimately I had to be like, listen, this is going to be tough. It's not ideal timing, but I got to do this thing that I want to do. So you really have to think through things and trust your gut. Because if there is that little voice saying, do it. If you get into this other thing, you're going to end up doing it. Mm-hmm. So it's like, just go for it. So it might be bad advice, but that's how I think.
I don't think that's bad advice. I think, we're at a time frame where it's important we have the ability to take these risks now.
Yeah.
So I'm in your corner and I know everybody's behind you too, man. So we're excited to see it. All right.
Appreciate it.
And this will bring us to my favorite section, Dave's Dime of the Week.
Dimes.
Boom. Got to get the phone. This one's a long one, guys. Big process here.
All the steps.
All the steps. There's a difference between interest and commitment. When you're interested in doing something, you do it only when circumstances permit. When you're committed to something, you accept no excuses, only results. Dramatic pause.
Let
that sink in.
There's more?
No. Let that sink in. I think it's a great quote. Don't know who said it. Probably Dave Regina.
I love how you pull quotes.
But this is something that even for me it rings true because it's easy when things are really good. It's really easy. Like everybody gets motivated on a nice sunny 70-degree day, fall foliage in New York.
I get least motivated.
But when it's raining outside, we're all like, I can't get up. And yes, there's a level of there are some what's the word I'm looking for? There is a correlation between bad weather and feeling, a way, but your mood is not a permanent thing. That's a temporary solution, right? It's a temporary experience. And that's what I try to focus on now in life is not allowing the temporary circumstances of my life to alter or dictate how I permanently want to traject in my life, if that makes sense. So yeah, I hope today brought you guys some sort of value.
I enjoyed it.
Right? Let them know where to shop, Michael.
NoSnoozeShop.com. Like, subscribe, get some gear. I actually am due for some
Starbucks
gear.
is terrible.
I'm due for some pants. I want my sweats. I've been putting this off for a while. I got to prioritize it.
Prioritize that and thumbnails. And thumbnails.
I haven't done a thumbnail. I haven't done a thumbnail.
CV
in
got your back, man.
4 weeks.
Yeah,
maybe?
something like that.
At least the titles are fire.
There
Thank
you
you, Steve. But that's my thing. Listen, it is what it is.
Yep. I hear you. Guys, thank you as always for the support. We are very grateful for your listen. Shout out Bob Mazza. Right?
Number one fan.
I mean, literally,
The best.
he's
Best guy.
an incredible supporter. We dropped an episode, I guess it would be a couple weeks ago now that you're listening to this, where we were off on a Monday for a holiday, and we didn't drop an epi. And there was a couple DMs that are coming in, but one was from Bobby Mazza that says, "Yo, boys, no new epi today." He's like, "I don't know what to do," but just that type of stuff is fun. It's motivating for us. So thank you guys for the support. And until next time, stop snoozing.
Get up and get after it.
And go commit to some shit.
I want to commit to a bacon, egg, and cheese right now.
That's another Effie in the books. Go follow us on Instagram and Facebook at No Snooze Podcast. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, No Snooze. Come on.